In the dying light of the Blackcap Moor, where shadows stretched long over ruined farms and despair clung like fog, there lived a druid unlike any other. Tonight, let me tell you of Eira Myrrhroot, a steward not of life or death, but the fragile, shifting balance between the two. This is her story, one of decay, renewal, and a choice that would reshape her world forever. The farmers came for her first, clutching burning torches and bundles of herbs. Their voices quivered with fear as they recounted the horrors that plagued their land. Livestock rotted from within, their bloated corpses erupting in sprays of ember-like spores. Orchards twisted against the sky, their bark splitting to reveal pulsing fungi that glowed like ghostly lanterns in the night. It wasn't hunger that drove the rot, it was something darker, something eerie and aware. And there stood Eira, crowned in a wreath of gray-green lichen that dripped like melting wax over her head. Her half-elven features, pale and speckled like forest mushrooms, betrayed little emotion as she listened. Every farmer begged for her to purge the curse, to bring clean death, for Eira was a druid of the Circle of Spores, one whose wisdom came not just from spring blossoms, but from the hollow song of decay itself. But in her heart, Eira wrestled with the truth of the cycle. Decay feeds renewal, she reminded herself, as she watched tears streak the dirt-matted faces of the desperate people. But what if this rot hungers for more than rebirth? When she stood to speak, her voice came soft but clear, laced with the authority of someone rooted deep in the earth. "I will see what ails the Hollowwood," Eira said, her moss-coated robe swaying with her movements. "But know that this blight does not answer to steel or flame. To stop this, I may need to invite it closer, not push it away." The crowd murmured. They didn't understand. Perhaps they never could, but they let her be. Eira's journey began into the darkened forest of the Blackcap Moor. It was no ordinary place, a labyrinth of towering hollow trees where light seemed to die before it struck the ground. Here, she could feel the pulse of the rot beneath the soil, a humming awareness that whispered secrets older than words. Lifting her staff, crafted from birch, though it flaked with fungal growth, Eira began her song, a low, reverent hum that seemed too quiet for even the trees to truly hear. But they did. The trees, gnarled and shimmering with toxic spores, seemed to quiver. Their bark split in slow moans, revealing patches of green buried beneath the decay. It was almost as though the forest sighed. Life and death were dancing here, and she walked the careful rhythm between each step. On the second night, her path was interrupted by a shadow far brighter, Warlord Harrow Ven. From the back of his black warhorse, his voice was all venom and flame. "Druid!" he roared, gesturing toward the burning fungal circles that pockmarked the forest behind him, plumes of toxic smoke drifting into the stars. "You dare meddle! This blight is mine to wield." Harrow Ven knew what others feared to know. Decay can be weaponized. The spores, if harvested properly, could choke out entire villages, force surrenders with the breath of death itself. And yet, even knowing the danger, he burned away all living things in the Hollowwood to ensure his dominance. To him, the forest was not alive, not sacred, it was ammunition. "The balance is fragile," Eira warned him, gripping her staff tightly. "You do not know what poison you spread." Harrow grinned beneath his iron helm. "And you don't know the cost of hesitation." He left her there, a warning on his tongue and a hunger for conquest in his eyes. Not long after, another figure found her on her trek. Sir Rian, a paladin of the Zealous Order of Renewal, charged with purifying the land through holy light. Unlike Harrow Ven, his intent wasn't greed. It was fear masked by righteousness. His heavy armor shone even beneath the glimmer of sickly fungal light, and his presence seemed immune to the whispers of the forest. "Eira Myrrhroot," he began, his voice echoing with divine command. "The Order has heard of your song. We know what you call forth here. A balance, you claim? No, this is perversion against life itself." For a moment, she remained silent. Then, softly, she asked, "What would you call life without the spark of decay? Does not your wheat bloom brighter after the soil has cradled death?" He hesitated, his righteous certainty faltering. But even as they argued, the blight deepened, and Eira knew, instinctively, intimately, that the rot was not just spreading, it was waiting. Beneath her feet, far below the molten cathedral, something ancient stirred at the heart of the Hollowwood. This was no simple sickness. It was the land choosing decay as it had once chosen life. The forest was alive with hunger, dangerous and misunderstood, yes, but alive. It was then that Fenwick, the gnome tinkerer, found her. With his keen eyes and dirt-streaked hands, he spoke of possibilities few could understand, let alone articulate. "These spores," the gnome muttered, holding up a glowing flask filled with floating fungal specks, "are tools, you see. Dangerous tools, yes, but tools no less. What we destroy out of fear, we may yet master." He chuckled, though there was sorrow in the sound. "The question, dear Eira, isn't whether you can save this valley, but if you can do it without destroying one part of yourself to save the other." At the heart of the molten cathedral, Eira finally arrived. Fungal roots twisted into spiraling, cathedral-like archways, vibrant spores dancing like stained glass in unnatural light. Around her, raiders loyal to Harrow stood armed with inoculations, while Sir Rian stood resolute with fire and steel, and Fenwick tinkered nervously with his gnomish devices. It all came down to this moment, 3 paths set before her. She could choose purity, as Rian demanded, and purge the Hollowwood. The blight would be cured, but the scars it left would turn this once thriving forest into barren wastelands, perhaps for decades, perhaps forever. She could heed Fenwick's wisdom, blending druidic ritual and technology, containing, not curing, the blight. But was this a solution, or merely a delay for the inevitable return of decay? Or she could do what the forest whispered to her all along: let it bloom. Allow the rot to overtake everything. Dissolve the valley's fragile ecosystem into one vastly different, where life would reshape itself into alien forms, but thrive in ways unimaginable. Eira paused there, running her fingers over a wreath she had woven, a living crown of lichen, moss, and mushrooms. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "There can be no green thing without the quiet hymn of decay. A world without rot is a world covered in dust." And with that, she lay the wreath at the cathedral's heart, its luminous mushrooms flashing the names of those lost to the rot, glowing like stars in the shadows. The choice she made that night reverberated through the land like echoes in a cavern. Whether she purged, contained, or became one with the rot, the valley would never forget her name. So tell me, friends, what would you have done in her place? Would you have fought death to preserve life, or surrendered to decay to cradle new growth? Perhaps your answer will inspire our next tale by firelight. Oh, and remember to subscribe, for the forest has many secrets yet untold.